Emperor's Club, directed by Michael Hoffman in 2002, is a story of moral and ethical leadership as the characters take part in struggles between doing what is right and doing what immediately rewards. William Hundert, played by Kevin Kline, is a Western civilization professor at St. Benedict's School for Boys. He rows in the school's lake each morning and for some reason lists that as a central qualification for headmastership.
Well, having rowed our lake every day, weather permitting, through the last 7 presidential administrations, I feel more than ready to do battle.
Hundert prides himself in what he teaches and often emphasizes to his students that doing what is right is essential for being of good character.
Why? Because great ambition and conquest without contribution is without significance.
Hundert's classroom, however, is turned upside down when Sedgwick Bell is brought into his classroom.
Mr. Hundert, I'd like you to make the acquaintance of Mr. Sedgwick Bell.
Pleasure to meet you, Mr. Bell.
Bell has no regard for the rules and is constantly disrupting class.
And the sign said this was a boys' school.
It is a boys' school.
So why is everyone wearing dresses?
He's the son of Hiram Bell, the senior senator from West Virginia.
Well, whoever the father is, the son is a bit of a Visigoth, I'm afraid.
Now I'm going to tell you about all the leadership values found in this film.
Me, sir?
Yes, you.
As I said before, the whole movie has a central theme of moral and ethical leadership. Hundert teaches it in his classes that it's important for his students to focus on being like the upstanding characters from ancient Roman history and to do what is right, as they had before the boys.
Plato, Cicero, Socrates, giants of history, men of profound character, men whose accomplishments surpass their own lifetime and survive even into our own. Their story is our story.
Bell, on the other hand, serves as sort of a devil's advocate, constantly challenging Hundert's status quo and bringing along a slew of other boys who are drawn to his rebelliousness and constant pranking.
Brutus is a
Because he has a conscience? Because he believes there's a right way and a wrong way? Remember Socrates?
Not really.
It is not living that is important, but living rightly. Socrates chose to die by unjust execution rather than break the laws of Athens to which he had pledged obedience.
Hundert decides to take matters into his own hands, and he seeks the counsel of Bell's father.
Hello, how are you? Good to see you.
And you, sir.
Give me just a second. Professor, come on in.
Who then calls Bell and tells him to get his act together, or else.
What's wrong?
Shut up. My time is precious, son. I thought I made that clear. I got better things to do than clean up after you. You understand me?
Yes, sir, I understand.
From this point forward, we see Bell start to develop as a person. What really spurs on his development is not only the call from his father, but the individualized consideration that is being shown from Hundert now.
This is for you. Forgive the condition. It was my textbook in high school. It's quite good. The first chapter has an outline of all of the material which we'll be covering this term. Look at chapter 3, The Foundation of the Republic. Sedgwick, I'm lending you this book because I believe in you. I think you could be at the top of your class if you wanted to be. It's entirely up to you.
Hundert had always treated the other students with individual consideration, and they, in turn, respected and admired him. When he tries this new approach on Bell, rather than resisting his constant pranks, he becomes more of a transforming leader and a mentor to the young boy.
Mr. Bell? You passed.
It's only a C-.
Well, you know what they say about Rome.
It wasn't built in a day.
No, all roads lead to it. You were right the first time. Keep up the good work.
Bell starts trying much harder, and his studies, Hundert is amazed with his progress. The buildup of Bell's progress is so that he might take part in the school's Julius Caesar contest.
Mr. Julius Caesar is a St. Benedict's tradition. It is a contest held each year in 2 phases. The first is a series of quizzes that will narrow the field of competitors to 3. The second is a public tournament, where these 3 will take the stage at St. Benedict's Hall and answer questions about Roman history. The last man standing will be declared the winner and crowned Mr. Julius Caesar.
Hundert has full confidence in Bell, but after a time into the contest, he notices that Bell is cheating.
Lucius Cornelius Sulla.
Hundert informs the headmaster, but is told to just ignore it, as Bell's father is extremely influential in the school.
Mr. Woodbridge, I think Cedric Bell is cheating. Let it go. What? Ignore it. Ignore it.
Hundert is then faced with a moral decision. Does he expose Bell and risk his teaching career? Or does he say nothing and fail to uphold the moral values he teaches in his classes? Ultimately, Hundert does a little bit of both, and this is where the movie falls short in leadership. He asks Bell a question, and he, of course, gets the answer incorrect.
Who was Hamilcar Barca?
Would you repeat the question, please?
Who was Hamilcar Barca?
I don't know.
With Hundert no longer believing in him, Bell reverts back to his old behavior, illustrating what I see as the difference between when you choose to believe in someone and how they respond, versus when, as a leader, you constantly act disappointed towards your followers. One situation leads to performance, the other to dissent. 25 years later, Bell is looking for a rematch.
The merger makes him CEO of one of the largest corporations in America.
But what does any of this have to do with me?
Here's the thing. He's informed us that he would like to make a substantial donation to St. Benedict's, with one condition. He would like to hold a rematch of the Mr. Julius Caesar contest.
A rematch?
With you as Master of Ceremonies.
Why?
He says he would like to reclaim his intellectual honor. And he says his secretary has already located Louis Masudi and Deepak Mehta, and doesn't really anticipate too much trouble tracking down the others.
Didn't you tell him I had retired?
Well, he asked for you and only you. He insisted on it as a condition.
And did Mr. Bell say how much of a donation he was planning to make to St. Benedict's?
Enough for a 25,000 square foot addition to the library, in honor of his father. It would be the school's single largest donation to date.
Hundert meets Bell again and thinks that he has really changed.
I hope there's no late fee. I understand now why it meant so much to you.
Until, once again, he catches Bell cheating at the contest. Hundert is stuck with the moral implications of calling Bell out and ruining his adult reputation, or staying silent. Once again, this is a section I feel the movie fails to fully deliver, as rather than making Hundert fully face his beliefs, he instead is able to have a bit of a cop-out by throwing a trick question.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a stab here.
Once again.
Who is Shutruknahunte?
Shutruk
Nahunte, huh?
Come on, Belle. It was above the damn door.
The door.
He's got to know this.
The door, Sedgwick.
Come on, Sedgwick.
The plaque.
Guess if Deepak can nab this one, then it's his ball game.
Mr. Mehta, who is Shutruk Nahunte?
Shutruk Nahunte, king of Ansham and Susa, sovereign of the land of Elam.
That is correct.
Hundert is extremely disappointed that his student has once again failed him, only to find that he failed to see the forest for the trees, and is surprised when he is able to realize the full impact he had on his other students.
Hail Caesar!
Get a picture really quick. There it is. Look at him. He looks great. There, it's perfect. Oh, the back. Give me the back. The back. Mr. Hundert, we have something we'd like to present to you. The only man who can make Homer a hit, our slugger, Mr. Hundert.
You remember? I remember. Cedric, come on.
Swing, batter, 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 batter.
Over there, Mr. H.
Elegantly put, Mr. Masudi.
The plaque.
A great teacher has little external history to record. His life goes over into other lives. These men are pillars in the intimate structure of our schools. They are more essential than its stones or beams, and they will continue to be a kindling force and a revealing power in our lives. Thank you, Mr. Hundert.
Thank you.
Overall, The Emperor's Club is a great example of moral and ethical leadership in film. While it's by no means a perfect example, it has a unique way of demonstrating the pros and cons of a realistic leader who, like their followers, struggles with moral dilemmas.